A local Habitat for Humanity chapter celebrates a big milestone, and yesterday kicked off American Indian Heritage Month.
An officer is involved in a shooting in Maxton, and COVID vaccination incentives seem to have worked in North Carolina. I'm Mahela Trace.
And I'm Jayla Coley. Welcome back to another episode of Carolina News Today.
An officer-involved shooting that left one man dead in Maxton is being investigated by the North Carolina Bureau of Investigation. According to the Robisonian newspaper, 30-year-old Austin Brooks was allegedly armed with a knife when a Robinson County deputy responded to a domestic assault call. Brooks was treated for mild injuries, and the officer was placed on administrative leave until the investigation is complete.
New affordable housing is in the works for the city of Lumberton. The North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resiliency has agreed to fund over 1,000 new units in areas that were heavily impacted by hurricanes Matthew and Florence, including Lumberton. The massive statewide project will cost approximately $53.5 million and will be paid for using HUD disaster recovery funds. The units will be rented to low to moderate income tenants. Construction on the project will be expected to be complete by 2026.
Scotland County's chapter for Habitat for Humanity dedicated a home last week for a Laurinburg family. It wasn't just any home, it was the chapter's 50th home, and it's in a neighborhood where they're at least planning to have 9 more.
Habitat for Humanity of Scotland County dedicated a newly built home Tuesday for the Delarius Martin family. Executive Director Chris Carpenter says this project was an exciting milestone for the organization.
Anytime you can get to a milestone in such a small county, like the 50th home for a Habitat affiliate, it's wonderful. It's not easy to raise the money to build these homes. So with us not being somewhere like Raleigh or Charlotte, we have to work really hard. And so just to know that we have built 50 houses throughout our history, it's really amazing. It is.
Carpenter says they would have the ceremony and party regardless.
We always dedicate homes. It's a very special time to get the family, supporters together, volunteers, our staff, and this is just something all Habitats do. We always feel like it's important to have that home dedication and bring everyone together, and bring in their church family, and let them bless the home and just everyone get together. So it's something that every Habitat does for every house build.
New homeowner Delarius Martin says this place is a blessing to her. She lost her first home in a divorce about 10 years ago. She had always been aware of Habitat's work in the county.
Before my kids was born, about 20-something years ago, we always knew about it, and me and my sister applied, but because we didn't have any kids or need, they turned us down. So over the years, I've heard about people getting houses. I've known people that have houses, and when somebody told me they were taking applications, I jumped right on it.
Martin works in a nursing home, but also put in hundreds of volunteer hours at Habitat's thrift store as part of the standard program requiring sweat equity into a new home build.
I just put up the merchandise, put up items when they come in the store. I would help sometimes at the register. So that's basically that was it. When the store was closed, I would go and get the store straightened out for the next day, put things where they need to go. As the items come in, they check them, and then I put them out. And just talking with the customers, and the staff is great. Everybody is friendly. So it's like I just built like another little family that I really appreciate and I love. So it was a great opportunity and a great experience.
Board President Terrence Dollard says it's not just about houses, but about families.
The 50th house is really exciting. It puts things into perspective because you realize that you've built 50 homes for 50 families. You've built neighborhoods, communities, and you have given people a place to call home, and that's really special. And knowing that on the same street we're planning House 51, 52, and many more homes, it's rewarding and satisfying knowing that there's going to be people who can find a nice quality place to live and can call it home for now and for years to come.
We should mention that Habitat's board president, Terrence Dollard, is also a professor in UNCP's Department of Mass Communication. He says they have 9 more lots on Sugar Road to build on. It will take 4 years at most to finish the neighborhood.
A study has concluded that North Carolina's COVID vaccination incentives during the summer helped to stem the tide of vaccination drop-off. When vaccinations statewide were decreasing by about 49%, 4 counties that gave out gift cards saw decreases of only 26%. The incentive program guaranteed a $25 gift card to adults who got their first dose or drove someone to participating providers. A survey showed the card and the card for the driver was an important reason for more than 40% who decided to get their shot. The survey was conducted by researchers at North Carolina Central University, and the vaccination data was gathered over a 1-week period by UNC Chapel Hill.
On campus, many students have tested positive for COVID since the pandemic began or know someone who has. We asked what it was like.
I did experience having COVID not too long ago. I just recently got out of quarantine.
I have experienced COVID and also had some friends who experienced COVID last October. It was very bad.
I had a little fever. I was low-key sweating a lot. My appetite wasn't as normal as it used to be. I lost my smell, but I got that back like maybe 3 or 4 days right after.
My mom had COVID back in January. It was really tough.
It was hard to get out of bed. My body felt very stiff. It was just very hard to breathe a lot.
It's not really that bad, but like they say, it varies for certain person, like for certain people.
The food was nasty. I had to use a community shower. I couldn't taste, couldn't smell, couldn't go nowhere. So imagine just being stuck and secluded in a room for 10 days.
A church in Elizabethtown brought excitement to their area in October with Bladen County's first corn maze. Foundation Church set up the attraction right off the intersection of Highway 87 and 701. Over 2 miles of path makes a patriotic display with an eagle and the words "God Bless America." The site also boasted fun activities for children, a pumpkin patch for all ages, and hot foods. The church says the maze was a fundraiser for their new building that will actually be built where the corn stands now. Member Lauren Godwin said the turnout was amazing.
We've had a couple hundred people out here each weekend. It's been really great. We've been able to see people both that come to our church and people that we've never met before. So it's been great to be able to talk to people in the community and be able to reach additional people.
Foundation Church says 3,000 visitors came through on Halloween alone with their tent or tree event. They're still calculating the dollar amount raised, but they estimate the total attendance over 2 weekends was about 4,500 admissions.
November is American Indian Heritage Month in the state of North Carolina. It's the 26th annual observation, and the Commission of Indian Affairs is planning for a weekend of online programming that's free and open to the public.
The event, of course, is being held virtually. Second year that we've had to do that because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But it's still a vital effort that we're putting together. We have put together, rather, it's a vital effort, and it's going to be including a whole lot of different program activities, such as storytelling, exhibits. So there'll be a lot of American Indian history playing out during the week of Indian Heritage Month. So I'd invite everyone to stay tuned and be involved in the virtual events. It's an educational event. All of our tribes in North Carolina participate in the planning and the development of the Indian Heritage Month celebration. Our associations are part of that as well.
The theme of this year's event is Strong Roots in Changing Times. The Commission of Indian Affairs is observing its 50th anniversary this month as well.
Continuing our series of 20 Under 20, CNT reporter Brandon Hodge introduces us to an 18-year-old senior at UNCP, and her major, computer science.
So computer science it's not exactly what people assume it is when they just hear computer science. Like, definitely think computers, it does have to do with that, but it's not IT in the sense that it's like working on hardware. It's more focused on the software side and how software interacts with the hardware. This is a program called QT-SPIM that helps you with machine language, and which is closer to the binary that computers understand. So like a program that I write using this, if a person who didn't know how it worked were to look at it, it would look like gibberish. But you can just load programs in to use it, and it shows you the different registers of the computer and shows you how the computer itself is processing the information.
I also had the chance to discuss with her about how she's just 18 years old, yet a senior at UNCP.
Okay, so I graduated from my high school when I was 17. I had actually just turned 17. And the high school I went to is an early college, which means that I graduated with my high school diploma, but I also graduated with my associate's degree.
Me and Sarah are co-workers at a local restaurant. Sarah's just an amazing person. Like, she brings energy to the team. She's always there. She's very reliable. I just love working with Sarah.
I finally discussed with Sarah any advice that she has for anyone looking to get into the computer science field.
It's definitely very interesting. There's a lot of fun things you get to do in your classes. I'm actually right now working on a semester-long project, and we're just developing a video game. So it's definitely a lot of fun, but you do have to apply yourself, and it is a bit of work. It's complicated concepts, but it's very fun, and if it's something that interests you, I would encourage you to pursue that.
For Carolina News Today, I'm Brandon Hodge.
A COVID patient returns to the hospital to apologize.
And flight cancellations leave passengers in Charlotte frustrated.
And a healthcare executive in North Carolina wins a $10 million judgment against his employer.
Those stories and more coming up. Stick around.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years, and I got my third child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school. My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
They both keep me motivated to go to school, and they see that if I do it, like, they can do it too, you know? I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you.
It was another frustrating weekend for travelers as American Airlines canceled hundreds of flights across the country. In Charlotte, dozens of flights were canceled Friday and again on Sunday. Reporter Glenn Counts of WSOC spoke to disappointed travelers at Charlotte Douglas Airport and airline officials to find out what went wrong.
And just found out my flight's been canceled. I was supposed to depart at 5:50, and we don't know if we're going to get out tonight.
Eric Capron is waiting in a long line. The welder and his wife are trying to get to Omaha, Nebraska. You can hear stories like his throughout the airport.
We were waiting to board the aircraft, and then they said the flight was canceled.
And at this point, we just want to go back home, but we don't want to lose the money that we've already paid for at the resort.
American tells us that weather around the country has played havoc with the schedule. The company sent an email to staff, and part of it reads, "With additional weather throughout the system, our staffing begins to run tight as crew members end up out of their regular flight sequences. We have adjusted our operation for the last few days this month by proactively canceling some flights." That was not the kind of news that some passengers wanted to hear.
I don't understand why it's canceled. I've heard they don't have enough staff. Well, you sold me a product, I paid for it, now it's your job to get me there.
Help is on the way. The airline says that next month it is recalling 1,800 staffers, and in December, 600 new hires should also start. A lot of passengers got rebooked today, but that news wasn't all good.
They're starting to rebook flights, but now it won't leave until Monday, November 1st at 2:48.
So what are you going to do for the next 2 days?
I have no idea. I got to wait for my wife to get here, and we might go get a rental and just drive to Nebraska.
A white man in North Carolina has won a $10 million payout after he says he was fired and replaced with 2 women. According to his lawsuit, David Duvall was fired from Nuvant Health, a not-for-profit health system, back in 2018. He had served as a senior vice president of marketing and communications for about 5 years. According to the complaint, Duvall was fired without explanation or warning and replaced by a white woman and a black woman as part of a push for diversity. Last week, a jury ruled in Duvall's favor. He was awarded $10 million in punitive damages. Duvall's lawyer says his client is a strong advocate for diversity and inclusion, but Nuvant Health had simply replaced him illegally.
A former COVID patient in Washington returned to the hospital that saved his life to apologize for not getting vaccinated. Here's his story from KOMO in Seattle.
Welcome back. Good to see you.
Richard Solis is doing something unusual.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
After being severely ill with COVID-19, he's returning to the hospital to say he's sorry.
Fighting for life over a vaccine, I deeply regret, not making the decision to get vaccinated.
No one blames you or judges you. Everyone's just happy that you are willing to share the story, I think, and happy that you're better.
Richard spent 28 days at Harborview Medical Center. He was on a ventilator and says he was hanging by a thread. He points to social media as one reason he didn't get a COVID vaccine. He was reading about side effects, claims of microchipping, and questions about government approval. And he didn't know anyone who'd gotten sick until he couldn't breathe.
And that's when I really knew that I was in a bad situation. I realized, hey, this is COVID. Man, I contracted the virus.
He says he was embarrassed when hospital staff asked him what they ask all patients. Did you get the vaccine?
Do you see many people come through here who say, yes, I got vaccinated?
That are in the ICU? Really uncommon.
It's been a long pandemic in the ICU. These are the sickest of the sick patients who often leave the unit without nurses knowing how things turned out.
Oh, wow, you look great.
Yeah, I feel great. I just wanted to say thank you so much.
You're so welcome. We do put so much of our own heart into the care and worry, and then you never really get to see people get that much better. And so it's amazing. It makes it feel like it's definitely all worth it,
Richard hopes his message will ease the burden on these nurses and doctors.
Please go get vaccinated because this virus is real. Real enough to take somebody's life, to put you in ICU.
Everyone who's eligible to get vaccinated should get vaccinated. I think they're very safe. We've got lots of studies showing that now. You should get vaccinated for both COVID and influenza.
Richard has now heeded that advice.
You're getting better.
Yeah, day by day.
He is fully vaccinated and grateful for it.
Well, thanks again for visiting.
Molly Shen, KOMO News.
In Rhode Island, the first of about 250 Afghan refugees are starting the process of resettling. That includes one father and interpreter who helped U.S. forces in combat. Tyler Dumas of WJAR tells us his story.
Just off a flight Saturday night, the Fakiri family took their first steps toward a new life in Rhode Island.
It was a hell of a journey. To be honest with you, it was a chaotic moment when we were getting out of Kabul.
Aminullah Fakiri once served as a frontline interpreter for U.S. military forces in Afghanistan. Like thousands of other Afghan families in mid-August, he says he was forced to flee his home province of Kunar as the Taliban moved in.
If I not have been gotten out, my life would have been in danger.
In fear, Fakiri and his pregnant wife, along with their 4 kids, ages 2 to 10, left behind all that they knew. He says they feel lucky to now be in the United States. What have you and your family lost at home?
We have lost everything. This is very emotional to me because my country got fallen. We went down.
Now they're beginning a new life in the Ocean State as part of a resettlement program.
When they arrive here, they've been fully vetted, and the vetting process is very rigorous, it's very long.
Fakiri's once long-distant friend, Jonathan Dater, is acting as a guide.
I'm an immigrant myself. My family adopted me as a baby, and it took a lot for me to get here.
So my life is gonna be like a newborn baby here. So I'm gonna start crawling and start, my new life and enroll my kids into school and enroll myself to some, good educational institutes.
Fakiri says he also hopes to be a voice for the Afghani people who have not been able to leave, including his own parents and siblings.
We believe that we will raise again and we will be a united nation once again.
And leaders with some of the refugee resettlement programs tell us more Afghan families are expected to arrive here in Rhode Island over the next 2 weeks. Reporting in Warwick, I'm Tyler Dumont, NBC 10 News.
The nation recognizes Native American heritage this month. In 1990, President George W. Bush designated November as the month to celebrate contributions and achievements of the indigenous Americans and to recognize their sacrifices. President Joe Biden released a statement this year saying Native American roots are deeply embedded in our land. He said the United States should uphold treaty responsibilities and recommit to strengthening Native sovereignty. According to the Department of Indian Affairs, there are about 326 reservations in the country, making up more than 56 million acres of land. During this month-long observation, you could visit one of those reservations that are open to the public or a museum and can support Native-owned businesses and charities.
Braves football made it 4 in a row over the weekend.
And a soccer player scores her way into our 20 under 20 series.
Stay tuned for CNT Sports with Andrew Thrift.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Plan is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now anything but lonely.
We had this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
What's up, Brave Nation? I hope you had a great holiday. Only 2 of our teams were in action over the weekend, but there is a big high school rivalry to talk about. First though, Braves football. The team traveled to West Liberty, West Virginia to meet the Mountain Toppers in a conference matchup that briefly turned into a close game when the Toppers surpassed the Braves 17-14. A fourth quarter touchdown by Joseph Early followed by 2 field goals from Alex Alvarado sealed their fate, as the Braves went on to win 24-17. Quarterback Josh Jones threw a career-best 389 yards. The Braves are now 6-2 in conference play. They take on Notre Dame of Ohio Saturday at home for American Indian Heritage Day at Grace P. Johnson Stadium. In high school football, Scotland County's Fighting Scots hosted the Richmond Raiders at Payout Stadium in a big regional rivalry event. The rain stopped Friday in plenty of time to bring out the fans. The Raiders' offense was in top gear that night, scoring late in the first quarter when Callan Hood shuffled the ball to Kason Douglas, who ran it for the touchdown. It was the first score of the night and made the point after made it 7-0 Richmond. Once the Raiders got started, they didn't let up. Callan Hood avoids the Scots defense and finds Rondell Neal in the end zone, making it 14-0 Richmond. The Fighting Scots try to figure out what's going wrong, but the second quarter doesn't get much better. A Richmond interception leads to another big score as Nasir Crumpton gets the handoff from Hood and runs it 3 yards to the end zone. 21-0. Richmond's offense doesn't let up. Callan Hood scores on the quarterback keeper, making it 37-0. Still in the second quarter, Scotland finally breaks through as R.J. Nicholson rushes through the Raiders' line to finally get the Scots on the board. But the Raiders answered quickly when Callan Hood ran the ball in to put the Raiders up 42-7. With more than 3 minutes still remaining in the first half, the Raiders went on to win 48-21 and claimed bragging rights for another year. In Braves soccer, Riley Searing had the game-winning goal Saturday, the only goal in the Braves' 1-0 victory at Belmont Abbey. The victory puts them at 11-1 in Conference Carolinas. They're headed to the semifinals of the conference tournament as the #2 seed behind Mount Olive, who handed the Braves their only conference loss this season. Fans can easily make the trip to see the Braves take on an opponent yet to be determined Friday, November 12th in Florence, South Carolina. We've got another athlete making it to our special series, 20 Special Students Under the Age of 20. Soccer coach Lars Anderson recommended midfielder Anna Grossheim.
We had Anna Grossheim, who is a sophomore on our team, but more importantly than just being a great runner, Anna is also a very, very, very successful player on the pitch. She's already had a significant impact on our team this season, a season in which we're 4-0 in our conference and top of the table. In addition to Anna being a great runner, a great soccer player, and a great leader on our team, Anna is also an outstanding student. In her freshman year, she had a perfect 4.0 and has set the standard, for herself and for our teammates. We're a team that takes great pride in our academics, and we, quite frankly, it is rare that our team GPA isn't hovering somewhere in the 3.4, 3.5 neighborhood every single year. But Anna falls right into that fold with her outstanding academics. Anna's truly an amazing young lady, and we're very fortunate to have her on our team. She's a leader. She sets the standard academically, athletically, and outside of the university and the community, helping out, with the EMT services here locally. Again, we're fortunate to have her. We're very proud to have her on our team, and she's setting a standard for many, many years to come. And we're just glad that Anna Grossheim is a Brave.
That's all I've got for you this week. But volleyball takes on Chowan University tonight in Murfreesboro, North Carolina.
Thanks, Andrew. I know the women's basketball team is in exhibition tomorrow at NC State.
That's right. They'll start their regular season play at home on November 12th.
We've got 3 episodes left this semester. On behalf of Andrew, Mahala, and myself, thanks for watching. See you next week.